Um, I thought I would just do something similar to I did yesterday where I just kinda have, like, an office hour. Like, I don't know if there's a better descriptor of a li of the live stream, but that's basically it. It's just spending an hour working, talking. There's other people out there who are also working, want some company, wanna talk. But yeah, I'm here, and if you wanna chat, we can chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna just kinda work in the background, as we go here. And I'm also gonna turn my computer's fan down because it's kicking right now. It's kicking. Happy, what is it? Happy Thursday? We're getting to the end of this week, you know? So that's always exciting, when you hit that point in the week where you feel like, okay, it's all downhill from here. At least for me, I know not everybody's work week is like that. Some people have weekend gigs, and so maybe you're just coming to the beginning of your work week. Uh, but so be it. Okay. We are What I'm working on today is more testing. It's more the same of what we worked on yesterday. Started a new Twitter account. Um, yeah, I haven't been on Twitter for like the last like 6 months because very oddly my account got suspended on Twitter for what did they say? It was account something to do with like evasion or something, like account evasion or something. I don't know. I have appealed the suspension like 10 or 20 times and I can't get my Twitter account back. So I started a new Twitter account. Um, and yeah, that's been interesting to see like what a brand new account kind of looks like. Is very strange. I've been spending most of my time on Blue Sky. uh, Mr. Noah Truck Driver for Army. That's a very descriptive username. Uh, I wonder if any of it's true. Is any of that true? Is your name Noah? Do you drive a truck? And are you in the Army? Uh, Teja Patel. Hey man, how are you doing? Good to see you there. Thanks for stopping in. Jose Arts, what's up? I'm in the military. Okay, cool. Very cool, Noah. I'm gonna refer to you as Noah because that's what's in your username. But if that's not your name, I apologize. My no my Noah is Noah. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. That's very cool, Noah. Thank you for your service. If you're in the military, really appreciate that. I have several family members who served. I did not serve myself, but I very much appreciate your service. Thank you. Taja Patel. I'm from Kansas. So if you, or I guess I'm not sure how familiar you are with the United States, but I am in eastern Kansas in the United States, near Kansas City. If you know where Kansas City is, that's the closest big city. You're from India. Oh, very cool. I have an uncle who's from India actually. He grew up in Mumbai. Yeah, Mumbai. He came here when his mom was a doctor in India, and then they immigrated here, I think in like the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, he was 18. He grew up in India, but he came here to study. He went to KU and got a PhD, I think in like geology, geological sciences or something like that. But very very cool. Beans 1807. Sorry, I am married. I have my own kids. But appreciate the appreciate your words. Uh, oh, you're so SSG, is that a sergeant? I'm not super familiar with um with the military terms. Fungus power 2. That's the most random comment I've had on one of these live streams. Mini Jim. Okay, I see. I think I've seen Mini Jim in my chat before. Serious question. Why are there so many narcissists in America? Um, I don't know. I don't know if I would classify these people as narcissists, but we definitely have a very high value in individuality. Um, Obviously, that's just part of our Western culture, particularly American culture. So I think that's what drives a lot of the behavior is just that individualistic kind of not. I don't think everyone thinks like consciously thinks like I'm the center of attention, but I think culturally most people walk around kind of believing they're the main character in their lives, and um, which isn't super appealing, right? Like I think it would be better to be kind of self-aware. Taj Patel, yeah, Mumbai. Okay, so you're in Mumbai too. Very cool. Noah, yes, Sergeant. Okay, SSG Sergeant. Very cool. So Noah, the one thing I've always wondered about the military is when it comes to officers, there's this idea. I understand that there's commissioned officers, which are lieutenants and up, and then there's non-commissioned officers, which is kind of the I guess sergeants would be in that group, maybe, I think. But I always was curious, is there a lot of angst between those two um, groups in the military for real? Because sometimes you see it depicted in movies and stuff in culture where there's like the non-commissioned officers are kind of they're kind of like more working class where they still kind of work for a living, and then the commissioned officers are more kind of those white collar type of gigs. I've always wondered if that's a real thing. Taja Patel, it's here it is 11 a.m. Laura Vaga, thanks for the Bible quote, appreciate that. Jesus loves you too. H4 stroke 3Z, Trump or Biden? Wow, we're just coming out swinging today. I did not vote for Trump. I voted for Biden. Uh, not to go political, obviously, because I know that's very polarizing, but yeah, just, that's just being honest about who I voted for. Mini Jim, thanks for the genuine response. Oh, you're welcome, man. I do, I just want to kind of talk and chat. That's why I've kind of been trying to do these live streams when I work out or while I'm working, just so that it's almost kind of trying to create that same environment as like if you were having a conversation with your training partner, or if you're having a conversation with your office mate. Do come to India. Oh, I would love to come to India. That would be awesome. There's so many places I'd like to visit. Our family has not. We have a pretty young family, and we have not traveled much. But I would love to be able to take my family to all kinds of different places. I kind of have a running list. Like one of them is Ireland. One of them is uh, Jerusalem. I will put India on that list. I'd like to go to Japan. Um, Maybe one day. It's just travel's expensive and it's kind of complicated with little kids because you got car seats and stuff you have to carry and whatnot. Yes, they are, but which status? The same things. Oh, okay. Very cool. Yeah, I wanted to know how much angstiness there is amongst. Uh, I mean, I'm guessing like the military for all the great things it is, there probably are, it is just a bunch of human beings, so there's probably a lot of humanity in there too of tribalism and people kind of having competing beliefs and opinions. And Tujaha Patel, which state do you know in India? I don't I really don't know any states in India. I don't know much about India. The one place I have traveled outside of the United States, I traveled internationally one time when I was like 12 or 13 to Honduras in Central America. Was there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It was quite a long trip. That's where my family on my mom's side is from. It was a very cool experience to see kind of a completely different way of life, and a completely different um, yeah, just a completely different way of life and a completely different valid way of life. I think that's the big thing that I'd like to be able to offer to my kids is just being able to travel and see all the different things that are out there. Walnuts, hey, you're back. What's up, dude? You were here yesterday. It's cool to see people that I see usernames I recognize. Cigar. That's not a question I'm going to answer. You have to answer that one for yourself, Cigar. Do I know chicken biryani? I do know that. My food knowledge is pretty good. I went to so my degree's in biochemistry. That's what I went to college for. And then my first corporate job out of school, um, not right out of school, it was a couple of years after, but the first corporate job I had was as a research and development food scientist. Um, in a frozen food manufacturer. And so one of the cool things we got to do was we would do these kind of what we called them dine arounds, but we'd basically go to different cities and we'd kind of pick a theme for that dine around, and then we would try lots of different foods as a way to kind of innovate and come up with new ideas for new products we could, develop and launch. So yeah, so I know a lot of different foods. Noah. Let's see. I'm from Birmingham, England. Birmingham, England. I live in Birmingham, UK, but my base is in England, UK, down by London. Oh, very cool. Okay, cool. Awesome. So you're in the UK. Is it late there? London? How far ahead is London from me? Let's see. This to London time. Must be later in the afternoon, right? Oh, you're 6 hours ahead of me. So you're 7 o'clock or something like that? Yeah, Taj, I could definitely ask my uncle. He would probably I don't know how much he goes back to India, honestly. I haven't visited him in a while. But yeah, he was one of my favorite uncles growing up. What do you think about British rule India? I think anybody ruling someone else is probably a bad thing. Colonialism had a lot of negative consequences. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I'm also not super literate on the whole history, so I wouldn't go much further than that. I wouldn't offer much more than that. Oh, 1723. Oh, yeah, 6 hours, okay. Yep, very cool. Yeah, so you're basically kinda done with your day, huh? Nice TV. Do I have a PS5? No, I think what you're seeing back there is, it's a Meta Quest 3. We do have a PS5, but my sons have PS5s. They're in a different room, but this is a Meta Quest 3. We just got this. One of my sons had been asking for one for several birthdays in a row, and so we finally got one for him. Which I mean, we got it for him, but like obviously the whole family gets to use it. It's pretty cool. I actually I think I posted a video. If you go back on the community section in YouTube, I posted a video of me working in 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 VR. It's pretty nuts. I mean, I totally am a believer, and I've been using it like during the day to work because you can connect it to your computer and you can have multiple displays in virtual reality. It's pretty wild. I mean, I'm bought in. Like if someday there's a pair of like Ray-Ban sunglasses that allow me to do what this thing does, 100% would swap my computers, my phones, and all of that for a pair of glasses that just, you put them on and you got all the screens you want. Did you complete lunch? I'm that's lunch has not happened yet. So I usually take my lunch a little later in the day. I usually take my lunch a little later in the day, and then I typically lately over since the new year, I usually spend that hour streaming on Twitch, and I usually work on like side projects, like coding and programming projects. Either work on side projects or learn something new. Cigar, bro. What you learn about a lot of travel about difference? Can you elevate your experience? Uh, well, I'm guessing I'm reading that as like kind of a question. Uh, like you're kind of saying you're asking me, I think, about how it elevated my experience. I think um obviously I haven't traveled a ton, but the trip I did take that I mentioned when I was younger, it really changed the way I think I looked at the world. I think I became very aware that there's a large world out there with lots of different peoples, lots of different views, lots of different ways of doing things, and um, my way or the way I live is not the only valid way. and that I think gives me a lot of grace and understanding towards other people. Um, and that's why I want to expose my kids to it because I want them to have a similar experience. To Josh Patel, I appreciate that, man. I don't know if I'm a cool person, but I try to be, I try to be nice and respectful. Um, I try to show up in a positive way. Virtual reality, snap back to reality. Oh, there you go. Man, always Walnuts always has the music quotes and the movie quotes, and he drops some good cigar. I appreciate. Yeah, I try to explain. I've explained that to several of my son's friends' parents, like when we've been at like basketball games or just in conversation about that trip and kind of why I want to you know and it's not that I don't like where we live. It's just I know that where we live we are very privileged. Um and I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that that everywhere is like this. Um and not in a negative, not meaning that other places are not as good. I want them to know that there are other ways to live your life and be happy and content. It doesn't have to look like it looks here, right? You don't have to have a $300,000 home. You don't have to have two cars and all the nice fancy things. You can live a comfortable, minimal life. You can do work that doesn't involve going to an office. Those types of things. I want them to just see lots and lots of different perspectives. Nova, do you know Richard Dawkins? I do know who Richard Dawkins is. I've not read anything of his formally, like, I don't own any of his books, but I've watched some YouTube videos of, like, lectures he's given, debates he's given. He seems like a very smart, very intelligent man. Noah, thanks, I appreciate you subscribing, and I always tell people when they tell me that they subscribed, like, it's totally okay, I understand if the content that I make doesn't really hit an interest for you, and so I totally understand if some of my content isn't what you're looking for. Most of what I've been posting lately has been programming and coding, but, uh, you know, I'm gonna keep doing these lives, so, stop in, if you see me online and I'm live, stop in and chat. Okay, see you, Tajaj. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in and chatting. Have a good night. Hey, Brandon. I'm good. How are you, man? I'm having a good Thursday. I'm actually just spending an hour with you guys chatting and working, and uh, work's going pretty good. It's a little busy right now. We just released a new feature, and so we're deep into the testing phase of it, trying to get it squared away. Sorry, guys. My dog is just going ham back here. For some reason, every time I stream, my dog just gets really worked up about it. Nova, hey, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. Yeah, nice, knowledgeable, humble. Yeah, those are things I strive for, to just be kind, knowledgeable. That's debatable depending on the domain and what we're talking about. But yeah, there's some things I feel like, yeah, I'm knowledgeable about and humble. But yeah, definitely humble. That's definitely a value that my parents preached and I preach to my kids. Brandon, I'm pissed. I just lost my 2-week pay again on gambling. First day I got my check. Ah, dude, that's it. I mean, I'm not. I don't like. You never know, but like, if you're being for real, I'm really, really sorry about that, dude. Yeah. Gambling's a gambling's a slippery slope. I have lots of friends and family members who are deep down the sports gambling rabbit hole. if people are familiar with like parlays and stuff, every time I see them, they're always telling me about their latest bet and stuff. And I get it. I guess it's fun, right? It's definitely can be fun, but it's also a slippery slope. And it sounds like Brandon, you're finding yourselves on that slope today. And I'm sorry about that, man. Oh wow, 2 years in. Uh, I apologize if I'm butchering your name. Abhinav Ab Abhinav. Um, do you like mathematics? I do like math. Uh, however, I wouldn't say that's what I want to spend my time doing. Um, I much more enjoyed science than I enjoyed probably math. I know, it's hard to separate those two worlds, but like for instance, one of my least favorite college classes I took was physics 2, physics 1, physics 2. They were calculus-based courses in physics. Um, that really wasn't my jam. But, uh but I did enjoy math, like, I always found math relatively it came to me relatively easily, in school and things, so, um, I guess I like math more in the applied sense, right? That helps me do something. I really like statistics. Statistics is a thing I really enjoy. I did a lot of work in statistics when I was a food scientist, developing specifications and things like that. So I'm just a random guy. Hey, top of the morning to you too, man. Hope you're having a good start to your Thursday. I do invest in stocks. However, I don't invest in individual stocks. I'm one of those index investors. If you know the book Simple Path to Wealth, by uh, J.L. Collins, that's pretty much what I do. What's your area of interest though? Movies, gaming, science, anything specific? The area of interest right now is obviously, I mean, from a hobbyist perspective or from a professional perspective, it's largely focused on programming and coding, software engineering, uh, test automation, that type of thing. That's kind of like I've got a book actually that's supposed to arrive any minute now called "Build a Large Language Model from Scratch." I Lex, if you listen to the Lex Friedman podcast, he recommended it on one of his podcasts, and so I bought that, and so I'm very excited to get a hold of that, and spend some of my time exploring some machine learning. Yeah, Mr. White. Yeah, Science. I love that show. Breaking Bad, I love. I've seen that show start to finish probably 10 times. Love that show. As a biochemistry major, I mean, I ate that up. This idea that you could just be kind of this cool badass scientist, right? Doing gangster shit. Like I love that. And I still love that. I still think that one of the flaws in science, in the sciences, is how we communicate about what we do and what it is about to the public. We don't make it seem cool. We don't make it seem interesting. We don't make it baller, right? Scientists could portray themselves in a similar way to to like athletes, right? We could make kids want to aspire to do those things. One scientist that I see who has executed on that is, if you're familiar with Mark Rober. My kids love Mark Rober. They think Mark Rober is the coolest fucking dude ever, and that has sparked their interest in science in a really cool, interesting way. And we need more content, more science communication that's around that. Because you think about how much people idolize athletes, how much people idolize politicians, and honestly, though, even Elon Musk, right? Like these people who are doing big things in the world, behind the scenes, there's all these really smart engineers and scientists doing really hard, deep work, and they don't get any of the limelight, they don't get any of the appreciation, right? So we should really elevate them more. Do you think deep seek claims are true? Yeah, this is kind of a hot topic, right? I mean, I think you can't argue with the fact that obviously they built a model. that competes. If you've used it, it's good. My most recent thing I tried to do with DeepSeek, Claude, and ChatGPT was I tried to have them build a background removal tool, and DeepSeek was the they it did the best. Like, it gave me code that worked. It still required modification. I had to tweak some things, and some of it was dated code. But yeah, I mean, I would put its performance on par. It can't do some of the stuff though that ChatGPT does, like it can't generate images, things like that. So I am skeptical though of the claim about how much money they spent on it. I'm skeptical purely because I think putting a dollar figure to these things is difficult. So I'm a little skeptical about the money perspective. Brett just comes into the chat and says, "Virgin." Thanks, Brett. Appreciate you. I mean, I'll never understand. I'll never understand what possesses somebody to roam around the internet, you know, and like jump into people's comments or streams and just spam. I just don't get it. Walnuts. Is it a mistake to learn JavaScript as a beginner in a bearish programming market right now? I'd like to learn, but I don't want it to become wasted time or effort. I mean, any time you spend learning is not wasted time or effort, in my opinion. Um, is learning JavaScript probably going to be enough to get you a job? Probably not. But the thing is, when you sit down and learn JavaScript, you're going to learn a whole lot that's going to be applicable to a lot of other things. Um, and once you learn one language, it becomes very easy to pick up and learn other languages because the concepts transfer, right? A lot of the concepts conceptually, like what's a variable, what's the stack, what's the heap, what's a thread, what's a function versus a method. All of those things carry over into most other languages, and so anytime you invest in it is going to pay off in some shape or form. But it's probably not like I know. I'd say I know 3 or 4 languages uh, with I wouldn't say advanced knowledge, but like middle knowledge, right? Like I can work in them proficiently and efficiently. Um, and it would probably be difficult for me to get a job in purely being an engineer. So it's just tough. I think it's like people seem to want to hire senior people at the moment, and junior or mid level is difficult. Nova. I use Grok for image generation stuff, but still I'm dependent on ChatGPT for a lot of daily stuff. DeepSeek server is always busy. It is busy a lot. I last night last night, it's actually funny you say that. Last night, I couldn't use DeepSeek. I was trying to, and it kept saying, "Sorry, server busy." But that being said, as a knock on DeepSeek, I have a similar knock with the other providers. Sometimes ChatGPT does that, and ChatGPT has limits a lot of times, and I run up against them. Um, and Claude has those same issues. Claude, those approaches a little better, I think. Claude just downgrades you to Haiku, which is probably the better user experience, right? Just don't block someone's access, but just downgrade them to a lesser capable model, especially if you're a free tier user. Um, what was I gonna? I lost my thought there. Oh, Gemini. So Gemini, that's interesting. I'm working on a project. If you guys have seen any of my videos that I've posted here, but when I've been streaming on Twitch, I've been working on a project to generate alt text for like social media posts, right? So this way, I have an easy way to say, "Here's an image. Give me some good alt text for it." That way, I don't write crappy alt text, or I forget to write the alt text. Um, and I've been using Gemini for that, and yesterday they were overloaded. Like a lot I have some end-to-end tests in that project, and when I was running them, they were all failing, and I thought, "What did I do to break this?" And it wasn't anything I'd done, it was their service was literally just overloaded. Ackle, what's your take on AI art? Um, I think it's cool. I mean, I'm bullish on AI, but I'm not part of that hype cycle. Like, I think there's still a reason why humans want to watch people play football. We don't wanna watch robots play football. Like, people wanna see other humans doing cool shit. And so I think while AI art allows maybe not people who are not traditionally skilled or think of themselves as artists, it sort of democratizes that skill. I don't think it's gonna push out those people who are the top performers or excel at doing artistic works. I think humans are still going to value that. I think probably humans are probably going to value other humans making art and doing things even more, right? The more that certain of these skills become democratized by AI, we're probably going to value people at the upper end of the skill spectrum even more. Excuse me. Steely or Ste1E? What's up, man? Sup? Sup? Claude. Oh, Claude. There's Walnuts again with the quote. Ste1E, why don't you just host DeepSeek locally? It's a good point. Why don't I? I just haven't. Not because I don't want to. It's just I just don't. I just haven't. Nova. Now the hot topic is not AI replacing humans, but better AI replacing another. Uh, Yeah, it's kind of a weird in my opinion, I don't really care for where the AI talk is right now. Like all these companies like Jockeying and like they've really turned this into kind of an AI war type of thing. Not war and like fighting, but like this competition between themselves. Like to me, it's like the whole open AI thing sort of started as like, right, that they were trying to make AI accessible to everybody. And now very quickly, that's kinda to me, feels like it's largely been forgotten, and now we just have all these providers who are clearly jockeying for, like, "I've got the better model. No, I've got the better model." Um, and I just feel like we've lost sight of, like, what the end goal should be, right? Like, the end goal should be, like, how can we use this technology to make life better for everyone, not how can we have the best thing and obtain all of the market share. Um, but that's I mean, again, that just goes back to, like, the humanity of us. No matter what we do, we can't get rid of that nature to, like, create tribes and have competition. It's just part of part of what happens. Kels edit. Hello, Steven. Do you remember me? After a long time, bud. I don't wanna lie, I don't, uh, but thanks for coming back. If we've talked before, I'm glad you're here, man. Nova. The thing is, monopoly of any sort won't favor people, so it's better to have newcomers. Yes, I agree. We should, and I guess I should say that I'm not against people competing. Like, I guess what I'm against is like people who are competing in the sense that this is a zero sum situation. I want people to compete the same way like we compete in the jujitsu room, where it's like, yes, when we're on the mats, we're rolling, we are trying to submit each other, but like we're gonna then stand up and we're gonna pat each other on the back and we're gonna support each other in training and we're gonna teach. I want that kind of competition amongst these providers where, you know, ChatGPT is glad DeepSeek exists and there's collaboration among the engineers and scientists at these companies, the same way that science works in other fields to drive betterment for humanity. There's competition in those scientific fields as well, but like no one's trying to root each other out, and that to me is seems like there's a little bit like there's this concern at the provider layer that this is going to get commoditized, and so I need to eat up as much of the market share as quickly as possible. D1E. I mean, for use case where you won't need a super smart AI, where you can't worry about server being busy. It's easy enough to local host. Smart, smart enough for writing all text. Yeah, correct. Yeah, you could definitely 100% uh, local host DeepSeek. And yeah, for the use case I talked about, that would work just fine. I just want something that's purpose built, right? That's I just I sp I've uh, oh, my name is Stefan. Oh, very cool. Yeah, Steven, Stefan, close. Yeah, someone in my Twitch chat said that too. They were like, when I wanna post something with alt text, I just write it myself. I just ask ChatGPT or I use my brain. And that's what I do today. I'll go into the Claude app and post share my image and then say, "Hey, please generate some alt text," and I'll copy and I'll go back. But I want something where it's like I don't have to rewrite that same prompt to the different LLM based on whichever LLM I have access to. I just want it's purely a tool for myself to where I can go to a web page or I can use my terminal and I can just say, you know, alt gen, image path, boom, and I have it. And not everyone's gonna find that helpful, but you should build things that solve your problems. That's kind of the to me those are the best projects. It's also been a great project to practice using NeoVim. I recently switched over to using NeoVim as kind of my primary day-to-day editor, and so this has been a good project to kind of fumble through, right? As I learn all that. Advanced developers, hi there. It's cool to see an advanced developer here because I am not one. Uh, I'm just a guy who likes to build stuff. Nova, wish AI plagiarism detectors didn't exist. Yeah, I'm guessing there's a lot of students out there that wish the same. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess I understand like I think it's a paradigm shift. I remember in high school when I was writing some papers in like my literature or English class, I remember teachers telling us we couldn't cite Wikipedia, um, that it wasn't a valid source to be to cite it. Flash forward into my college years, and professors all the time would like be like, "Hey, go read the Wikipedia on this topic. It will give you a good foundational breadth of information." And it really is like Wikipedia is a great place to start for like the highest level on a topic, and then be able to kind of branch out and weed out from there. But I say that because I think it illustrates what's happening with AI, with generative AI, is that it's this paradigm shift of people think that when you use AI to code or you use AI to write, it's like somehow you're cheating or somehow you're doing something not fair. And it's a paradigm shift in people's mind that no, 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 that's it's not cheating. It's just it's a different way of doing things now, right? It's a new tool in our tool belt. Um, and some people are embracing it and some people are having a difficulty with that, which is I think where you get this like plagiarism idea. Like you can't if an AI helps you write something, it's not yours. And I would challenge that a lot because so much you can look at so much of the way we use the internet, the way we use Google is almost like an augmentation of our intelligence in a way, right? Because I don't know everything on the planet. But for the first time, right, in the history of the world, I can access a corpus of human knowledge, right, with keywords. And now we're just doing that with artificial intelligence, specifically with generative AI. We're just kind of doing that in a new interface through a new paradigm with these token predictors. Advanced developers looking cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I got a haircut, so I definitely look better probably than I looked a week and a half ago. Brandon, $5 Little Caesars 770 now. That's a crime. No, I mean the cost of living is a thing. You don't have to tell me twice. I do the grocery shopping for our family. We're a family of four, and oh man, and I'm pretty anal about our finances, so I track everything pretty crazy, pretty pretty detailed. And so like I can show you a chart that literally is our grocery bill from 2020 to 2025, and it's nuts. What do you do to reduce burnout while coding? Um, I think what helps me is having more than one thing to work on. So I do find myself even if the problem's interesting and it solves an itch, I do find myself at times being like, today I don't want to do that, right? You kind of have that experience sometimes. And so having something you can switch to that's different, right? But still interesting is like, I always keep kind of a running list of technologies I want to learn. Like right now, I want to learn Hano JS. I just added a new one the other day I hadn't heard of before. It's called Marco JS. It's like a really small front end library for building UIs. But I just kind of keep a running list of these things that I hear either through YouTube videos or online, kind of things that pique my interest. And I think I would like to know. Or there's a web server called Caddy that I haven't used before. I've always used Nginx. And so I just kind of keep a running list of that stuff. And I try to think of, okay, if today I don't feel like maybe working on the main thing, uh, what's something else I can do that still will get my hands on the keyboard, right? But maybe excites me a little bit more. Nova, by the way, where are you from? I am from, so I grew up in Southwest Missouri, but we live currently in Southeast Kansas right now. We live near Kansas City, if you're familiar with that. C1E. I think it's more valuable to know how to ask the right questions than just have answers. Because of that, I would say the work AI does with your prompts is your work. Yeah, so we're doing some generative AI, AI stuff at work. And so me and one of our developers have been deep down this rabbit hole with large language models. Hence the reason I bought that book because I want to kind of go another layer down the stack, right? So we've kind of been working at that sort of provider API level, application level. But one of the things that we talked about, me and him, we talked about a lot is how much these models do feign intelligence. Like they feign intelligence in a way that as human beings, we imbue meaning on them. But at the end of the day, this is a game, these generative AI systems, they are a game of trying to figure out what's the right tokens to put in to get the tokens I want out, right? That's what what these generative large language models are doing at the end of the day. And so I can totally agree with what you just said there about how largely it is a byproduct of your work in some way because you're still crafting what input tokens should go in to get an output token. TPPT. Hi there. Sorry, I see you said hi 4 times, so I wanted to make sure and acknowledge you. Advanced developers. What do you do on weekend? So obviously I have a family. So most of it's spent kind of oriented around that. So my kids both play sport, or one of my kids plays sports. So there's usually some activity going around. We'll go hang out with my family. I like to work out. Uh, I really enjoy technology in general, so I'm usually doing something with the computer at some point during the day. But we have a very low key, relaxed lifestyle. We're very lucky in that sense. So our weekends are largely ours to pick and choose what we do with. Daniel D, do you like illegals? That's a random question, Daniel D. Do I like illegals? Well, I'm a Christian, so I would say I love everyone. Uh, do I like that people immigrate by breaking laws? If that's how we're defining illegal, I'm not a big fan of that. I understand why people do that. I have empathy for people who are fleeing really terrible, bad situations, and so I can understand why they do it. I have empathy for it. I don't think I'm a fan though, or I don't think I like that people do that. I think my grandma was an immigrant to this country, and she did it legally. She got a visa, she got a green card, she got her citizenship, and she was very proud of that. Um, so I love the immigrant story. I'm a product of the immigrant story in some shape, and so I want people to immigrate to the U.S. I want people to come here. I just think people should do it legally, and as a country, we should do everything we can to try to make that process um, as least painful as it can be. It's probably always going to be kind of painful. But PPPT, what is your dream car? That's a fun one. I'm not a big car guy, so I don't even have my own car. We have one car for our family. And I guess though, if you had if you gave me, if you said if you wrote me a blank check and said what car do you want, I think I would probably. I've always really liked the Toyota Tacoma trucks. I've always liked the look of them, so I'd like to drive one of those. I've never had one, so I'd like to drive one of those. Um, I also really love the look of those Rivian electric cars. They look cool. I would like one of those. So yeah, but no, I don't spend much time thinking about dream cars. Nova, are you interested in politics? If so, what's your thoughts on the government change? What are things that you want to see change in the forthcoming years? I'm interested in politics. However, I know that can be kind of a controversial topic, obviously. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes or feelings. But um, so what I think about the current situation is I think that the Trump administration has a plan and they are executing their plan. And their plan is to create confusion and chaos and to try to flood the zone. They want to accomplish some things, and I think those things are being hidden, not hidden like in a nefarious way, hidden in the terms of like they know that if they create a lot of noise to kind of mask their main objectives, they can focus on getting those main objective done while everybody kind of spends time on the peripheral things. Uh, like, for example, the US taking over Gaza. I don't think that that's something that people they really want to accomplish, but it goes back to creating kind of flooding the zone and creating chaos. So, the one thing I do kind of take issue with I don't know if I care for the executive orders. The executive orders, I understand they're there. I understand that our government allows for them, but to me, they feel a little bit like a royal decree, right? So, as a country that largely exists because of our dislike of central authority, a very powerful central authority. I don't know if I like this idea of trying to lead and govern through these kind of, again, to me, I know that's not what they are, but they feel very much like a royal decree that someone nails to the wall. That's what the executive orders feel like to me. But thank goodness we have three systems of government, and so there's checks and balances on that. Do you ever feel I don't want to be a software engineer, I want to be a salesperson? So no, I don't. Um, and purely because I just know myself, I wouldn't handle the whole quota. Carrying a quota would not be good for me psychologically. It would create a lot of anxiety, um, just in my day to day life, and that's not something at this point in time I kind of want to deal with. I think when I owned my own business, I didn't mind selling my stuff or selling my services. I think when you work for somebody else and you're kind of constrained, I don't think sales is the right thing for me. Now, if I had my own business, had my own services, I don't think sales would bother me because I would 100% believe in what I'm doing. I'd be excited to be out there and talk. And to me, that's where it's not really so much sales as you're just talking about what you love and what excites you and what you think is valuable. Um, it's not really in that sales lens. Versus if you have a job that is sales, that's not. It could be true that those things are true too, but it's probably not in a lot of cases. See you, walnuts. Have a good day. Daniel D. Where was your grandma from? My grandma was from Honduras. Tegucigalpa, the capital. Carpe Diet. Stephen for governor. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe one day. Uh, my dad had one. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Too fast, too furious. Okay, sorry, those messages have gone away. See you, TPT. I love that people like Elon are actively indulging in politics. Yes, agreed. Agreed. I think I so I kind of have two compete. I think it was Einstein that said kind of the hallmark of genius is being able to hold two competing ideas in your head at the same time. And so that's something that I strive to be able to do, to see both sides and hold competing beliefs. And so with Elon Musk, I do. I have two with the whole business people thing that Trump's doing. I have two competing ideas. One is it does kind of concern me a little bit to see that many business leaders and billionaires on stage with our president that it does make me think it does concern me a little bit, right? Because it does make me think, okay, if this was happening in some other country, would we look at it more like an oligarchy kind of forming? Would we be more concerned about that than maybe some are? And then there's also the other side of me that thinks that's good. These are really smart, competent, capable people. And I pray and I hope that they have really true good intentions and want to serve, not serve themselves, but really serve our country. And so I'm excited for them to bring their talents to bear and to do good. And so I just kind of so I have this reservation and I have this hope, and they kind of coexist. C1E, do you gym? I do gym. Uh, I do gym. I like that. Or sorry, you said, do you go gym? Uh, yes, I do. I do gym. Only I don't go to the gym anymore. So I have a garage gym, and I've had a garage gym for the last let's see, 7 years, 8 years, pretty much. So I haven't had a gym membership. I used to have a gym membership. I've been working out since I was 12. Uh, so, and I've said this several times on stream, but so if I started working out at 12 and I'm 31 now, if you add up all the days in between there, I've probably lifted weights 95% of those days. It really is kind of just a way of life for me. The gym is like my third place. You know, I have my house, I have work, and I have the gym, which now it's all kind of in one place because I work from home, I work out from home, I live at home. So, but yeah, I do gym. How we can earn more as individual software engineer. Uh, Advanced developers. I don't know if I have real good advice to share with you there. I think if you want to accelerate your earnings, and I don't think this is just for software engineering. I think this is applicable. This is also is applicable to like when I worked as a food scientist. Is if you want to accelerate what you earn, you need to be able to tangibly translate the contributions you make to the business, or the work that you do and how what that contributes dollar wise to the business, and make a case and say, the product I launched made this much money or had this many sales. And obviously you don't want to claim that it's all you, because it's not just all you, but you do want to recognize that, hey, I had a very significant contribution that added dollars to the bottom line here. And I've done that many times over, and that is why I think I deserve more of the value. And that's important. It's important to think like that, because at the end of the day, capitalism, right? Profit is predicated on people paying you less than less than what you contributed is valued at, right? That's the whole. There has to be some of that going on for there to be profit in the system. So, meaning if your value is 50 bucks, right? And let's say your value is 50 bucks an hour and your employer pays you 50 bucks an hour, and this is a very simplistic model, but there's no cushion there. There's no markup. There's no way, it's like if you wanted to sell t-shirts online, if you want to sell your t-shirt for 15 bucks and you pay your supplier $15, there's there's no wiggle room in there for you. So there has to be some amount of discrepancy between the true value of what you contribute and what you earn for that value. And so your job, I think, as the individual employee, is to continue to look at how much value the company is deriving, and then continually try to speak to how you're contributing to that so that you can capture a larger share. Um, You watch Breaking Bad? Yes. Enjoy it? Yes, I I love Breaking Bad. I was saying earlier, I've probably seen that, start to finish 10 times probably. Um, Love it. C1E, you're living my dream, brother. Yeah. I don't I don't wanna say that my life is the perfect life, but it's the perfect life for me. I'm very grateful every day to wake up. My family's healthy. We have roof over our head. We have food in our fridge. I have hot running water whenever I want it. It is actually a dream. No, but it was very interesting talking to you, man. Do you stream often? Wish I could stay longer, but gotta go. Snooze. What's the next stream? Um, so I do stream. I try to stream at least once a day here on YouTube, either like something like this with the office hour or while I work out. Um, but I'm not super consistent on the time. So if I stream like this, it'll probably be around this time, somewhere in like the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock range after my kids get out of the house and I start work for the day. If I work out, it's typically later in the afternoon, so like 3, 4 o'clock, something like that. So um, yeah, but stop in if you see me on. I'd love to chat with you some more. Advanced developers, good point. Yeah, it is a good point. And for the longest time, I didn't recognize that. Like I think I was frustrated by my pay sometimes. But then I started to think, yeah, but if I was a business owner, right, and I'm hiring people, I want to do right by the people I hire. But in order for me as a business owner to actually make a business that's sustainable, I do have to sort of, I mean, I don't know what the right words are, but I just kind of have to undercut them a little bit, right? There, I think as a business owner, though, the thing that I would strive to do is I would strive to not put it on my employee to I would try to be proactive, I guess. That would be the kind of owner I would want to try to be, is to recognize that, hey, my I was paying $30 an hour for this person, and I was deriving $20 of margin, and then I was, collecting on that through some markup. Um, but I would hope that I would recognize over time that, hey, I have a larger pie now, and so his share should be larger too, and that I would proactively or share or welcome them to participate in that upside more, and not force them to have to try to make that case to me. S9325. Hey, what's up? How's London? There was a gentleman in here earlier, Noah, from the UK. Breaking Bad. We want more episodes. Yes, we do. I was so happy when um what's that movie they made called? They made a movie that basically tells the story from like after Pinkman um after yeah, it's after Pinkman gets out, right after he comes back and saves them, and they basically made a movie that kind of shows the after effects. I would just like I love Better Call Saul too. I would just like more from that universe. I think it would be really cool to see. I'm sorry, I gotta log into my computer here. I think it would be really cool to see more from the early years, right? Of like when he was becoming a chemist and going to college. Maybe there's a storyline there that could be kind of interesting. Um, yeah, I would love to see more from that universe. Glad to know. Hope you have a great day. Thanks, Nova. You too, man. See ya. D1E. What? El Camino. That's the name of the movie. Exactly. That's the name of it. What's your gym interest? Powerlifting, bodybuilding, general fitness? Uh, General fitness at this point in life. I mean, I just love exercise. I love movement in general. Like I always tell people, find a movement practice you enjoy, right? Whether it's yoga, walking, biking, lifting, just find something that you really enjoy and that you'll stick to on a daily basis and drive. Our we were made to move, right? As human beings, we were made to move. And so you should every day have a way to move your body in a way that brings you some joy, gets you up and moving. Um, but personally, my focus though now is just I want to be strong and I want to be mobile, you know? I want to be strong and mobile. I want to be able to do things with my kids and not be worried about getting hurt. I want to be able to pick stuff up and not worry about getting hurt. So that's primarily what I focus on is mobility, strength, strength in ranges of motion. If you're There's a really cool system out there called functional range conditioning. Um, that shows that basically is like it's mobility focused, but they kind of are blending the two worlds where they're like, hey, it's really important to be mobile, but you should also be mobile throughout that entire range of motion. And it's a system that if you practice it and apply it, just helps build very robust, it helps make you very resilient and robust, in my opinion. Did you watch Prison Break? I did watch Prison Break. So Smith like strongman kinda. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I I don't do strongman exercises. I primarily just lift weights. One of the one strongman exercise though I do pretty regularly is farmer's carries. I love farmer's carries. Like just pick up something super heavy, one in each hand, walk long distances. I think it's great for your hips. Any tips for communication in freelance projects? I can't offer any from the freelancer perspective. I've not done any freelancing. Basically, all the projects I've done have been for myself or have been like free for family or friends. Um, I can speak to it though from like the customer side of it. So if you were freelancing for me, I can kind of share some opinions from that perspective, if that's helpful. From a communication standpoint, I think it's just very important to over communicate. Like as a client, I'm never going to get upset if I hear from you multiple times a day, uh, or more often than what you maybe would think. Um, I think from a client, the other communications that are most important to me is I want to know when there's a problem as soon as you know there's a problem, right? So if you thought you were going to deliver something for me tomorrow, or let's say at the end of the week, but this afternoon you find out nope, that's not happening. Like I want to know as soon as possible because probably I was planning or counting or I have conditional work based on the deliverable that's coming from you. And so I would just want to know as early as possible that no, it's going to be I'm not going to be really upset probably that there's a delay, but I might be a little bit obviously, like, disappointed, but it's not gonna be as upsetting, uh, to me if I found out as soon as possible than if I find out, like, the day before, right? So, those would be kinda things I think about from a communication perspective. C1E, Love 'Em 2, best correction yeah. Other than deadlifts, of course. Yeah, deadlifts are great, farmers carries are great. I'm looking at the time now. I realize I've been talking to you guys for 60 minutes, almost an hour here. So I said I was gonna do an office hour. So I probably need to wrap up here, guys, and get back to focusing on work. But I'll try to do this more often. Just kind of have an office hour, sit and work and chat. I appreciate all you guys stopping in and talking to me and having a conversation. It's been fun. Most of the time when I've streamed in the past, it's usually just me talking to a wall, you know? It's just like a guy in an empty room, so I really appreciate it, guys. I'm gonna jet, but I hope you guys have a good Thursday. I hope the rest of your week's awesome, and, yeah, I'll talk to you next time. See y'all.